Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Y'all forgive me for just a second. I'm trying to get the chat to pull up. Somewhere. I need to see it somewhere. Anywhere would be great. I'm pretty sure y'all don't want me to be without the chat, so I can see your questions. So bear with me for a second. There it is, finally. Hello, everybody. There y'all are. Finally. Sorry about that. I was trying to pull the chat up and I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, come on. How's everybody doing this evening? Hey, could you take the jingle off while I'm live, please? We had to get a bell for the littlest dogs, y'all, so I would know where it was at because it's so small and I've got big feet and I don't want to step on it. But the jingle's loud and the bell's just a bit like on purpose loud so that I could hear her and where she was at. Y'all know what I mean? I needed to know. Alright, y'all, this is going to be a fun kit. And how I've decided to make this, we're going to do this super easy. Okay? This is truly a kit for beginners if you're not familiar with the rectangle board. And let's talk about what you get in your kit. Let's talk about our materials. So we got 2 signs. And this kit was inspired by, I did a wreath last year for y'all, and you really liked the stuff that I used, so this is what this kit was inspired by. Okay, so you got your 2 signs, one's wood, one's metal. Okay, and then you have your fine weave mesh. Okay, and then you're going to get 2 rectangle boards. They come in a package like this. Even when you buy them from Unique in the Creek, when they're not in a kit, they come as 2s. Okay? And then anytime you do a kit with me, typically we're going to get pipe cleaners. Okay? But for those of you, if you're a fan of zip ties and you've done, like, you probably have some laying around. Because plenty of zip ties come in the kits. Right? And then, remember I told y'all you were going to start seeing more of the carnation ribbon and stuff? So this is the first kit we're trying it out with y'all in. The carnation ribbon like I talked about. Here it is. Now the reason we started doing this, for those of you, so that you know, a lot of people don't like having to store flex tube. Okay? And unrolling it because it kind of makes a mess. This is going to have basically the same effect as flex tube, but it comes on a roll like ribbon, so it's going to be easier for y'all to store. Okay? Everybody like that? And that's the second time I've ripped one of these off, opening that up. That's on me. Okay? Everybody on the same page with me? So we got, because we're doing Patriotic kit, we have the red, white, and blue going on in full effect. All right. And then we have our ribbon. I just think that's what, because they typically, the reason it's called carnation ribbon is because It's typically, well, excuse me, corsage ribbon for corsages, wrist corsages, and lapel corsages. I'm sorry, corsages. I think I'm saying that right. Corsage. And then we have this good canvas ribbon. And y'all are going to love this one. This is like, I love the double-sided ribbon. Here we go. We're going to do the double-sided ribbon. Isn't that awesome? We loves this double-sided ribbon. This stuff is phenomenal, y'all. I can't get enough of it because it's awesome for, it's good for making, awesome for making bows. Not just good, it's awesome. All right, so those are going to be our ribbons. All right, and then for those of you that are absolutely new to making a wreath, Lori tries to pack them up so that all you need is a pair of scissors to make these. So you get your tape measure to measure your mesh and ribbons for cutting them, and then you're going to get your cable tie mounts. Words, Jackie, find the words. Jackie, come on. You can do it. Cheer for me, y'all. I can do it. I can find the words. And you'll get your cable tie mounts. Okay? And the cable tie mounts are for your signs. All right. Now, typically, the only thing that you'll really need is a pair of scissors to do your kit. So what we're going to do with this is I'm going to show you how fast this is going to go. So we're going to do something different this time. We're going to do all the prep work first. Because if you are doing this, like, I want to show y'all how to do prep work, especially if you have a job and you're trying to do this as maybe a second income. I kind of want to let y'all in on a little secret that I've kept for many years on how to make a lot of wreaths in volume. So, y'all ready to get started? Plus, I kind of like to start in different places because, you know, sometimes one method that I show you doesn't gel with somebody, but the next method I can show you gels with somebody. You know, change things up a little bit. But I want to show y'all basically my prep method that I used for many years when I was working a full-time job and doing my wreaths for a second income. I'm not seeing comments. What's going on here? Okay. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to show y'all something. So when basically it would be the same way. I would get all my materials to make one wreath, but in this case we're making two, so that's fine. But what I would do, excuse me, is I have these nifty little clear totes, okay? And I might have like 20 minutes every night or not feel like making a wreath, so I would at least do prep work. So let me show you how that works. And y'all, this is why I'm so neat. So y'all know that I'm just kind of like continuing on. So here's my little tote that I would do. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our ribbon. Okay. And I know that I'm going to need 16 pieces of ribbon. Okay. It's going to be 8 for this board and 8 for this board. All right. And tonight we're going to cut our ribbon 12 inches, y'all. 12 inches. And like I said, we're cutting 16 total pieces, 8 for each wreath board. All right, so here we go. Now, so I don't waste ribbon, we're going to do 8 and then cut. This neat little tool that I'm using is called the Measure Buddy. You can get it at Unique in the Creek. And it comes in really handy. Let me get my clear garbage tote here. And in case y'all didn't know, believe it or not, doing the prep work is actually the longest part of making a wreath as far as I'm concerned. All right, so now we're going to cut 8 more. And once again, we are cutting our ribbon 12 inches tonight. Because I wanted this to be a super simple, fun wreath to make. Now, because I'm making 2 wreaths, I'm going to set my 2 bundles apart for right now. So now I'm going to cut my other ribbon. And once again, we're still going to cut it 12 inches. And a total of 16 pieces. But we're only going to do 8 at a time. Because if we do more than that, you actually end up wasting inches of ribbon. This kit is available right now, as of right now. If you're watching the live, if you catch me on replay, it may not be. And I do want to tell you that when you go to buy this kit, there's actually, Lori's got some phenomenal picks that I would use to kind of upgrade the kit if you want to. All right, we're going to separate. This ribbon's too thick to cut like I did the other one, so we're going to have to separate it out. But that's okay, right? Okay, so with this ribbon, we're actually going to use the stripe side, okay, with our ribbon tails. You can alternate them if you want to. I'm going to use the stripe side. That's just my preference. And notice I'm kind of bending it back just to start the shape of the side that I want. Okay, so there's those 8 pieces for one wreath. So now we're going to cut the next 8. I have to be careful, make sure I'm in the notch. Anybody got any questions so far? I mean, we're kind of on the basics on cutting the ribbon. because people always wondered and they asked me how I was able to make so many wreaths. So I'm showing y'all my trick on how I was able to do it. The cat is out of the bag, y'all. I'm showing you the tricks. All right, so I'm going to take this ribbon bundle and put it with my other one because that's for my other wreath. And this is also for people who work and buy these kits and don't have time to make a whole wreath in a day. Like, at least you could do the prep work, whatever. Okay, so now we're going to put those ribbon bundles together. We're done, and we're going to set them in the little box. Okay? Those are ready to go. Okay? So, next up, with the flex tube, well, not flex tube, I'm sorry. That ribbon. Think, Jackie. Think. Okay. I can't think of what it's called now. But we're using this as a flex tube substitute. Basically, I mean, yes, I have a fancy little ribbon spool here, and we're going to pull it all at one time and cut it. And we're going to cut 16 of each color, and we're going to cut it 24 inches long, a total of 16 pieces. Okay? And this, that's different, that you can pull on it. It doesn't lose length. Corsage ribbon, thank you. All right? So we're going to cut 16 pieces, 24 inches. One. Now, if you don't have a spool holder like I have, that's fine. Just drop it in the drop the rolls in the floor and let them spin. That's fine too. And I've already lost count. Okay, how many have I cut, y'all? I have totally lost count. Help me out here. I'll wait. I've totally lost count. What I thought. I'm going to cut one more for good measure, just so I don't have to pull the rolls back out. Because, I mean, this is something I will use again on Patriotic wreaths anyway. So it's not like it's going to go to waste. Right? All right, so we're done cutting that. Set that aside. Okay? So now that that's cut, I'm going to throw this on top of my box. And then the last thing that I do with my prep work is load my boards. Now, the reason I don't cut mesh as part of my prep work for planning to do a wreath later on is because the mesh is large and bulky once you cut it. So it's not very, and it really doesn't take long to cut the mesh. So it's not really saving time. All right, so we want to grab eight pipe cleaners for that one. Eight pipe cleaners for that one. All right. And then because it's only 8, I'm going to fold it in half like that and then start loading my board. Okay. Now with the rectangle board, to make sure I don't make a mistake, I typically start loading right in the center. Okay. And then we're going to skip over a hole. And then we're going to put one on the very end right here. And that's what's going to give us a nice shape for our wreath. Flip it around. All right, let me hold that up for people to get a screenshot so you can see how it's loaded. I know some of you like to do screenshots. So there you go. And now I'm just going to flip that over, and I'll tie it in a second. I'll go ahead and get this board loaded. Because to me, once you get in a rhythm of loading the board, I stay in that rhythm kind of thing instead of like darting all over the place. Because then once I start, you know, securing the pipe cleaners, I'll get in that rhythm. So I worked full-time for a very long time. And so that's, you know, basically, and I worked 60 hours a week, y'all, full-time, plus making wreaths. No telling how much hours I invested in that. But I had to come up with a way to make wreaths and work. And I found that this was actually a great system because I could sit down at the end of the week and I could make in one day, because all the prep work was done in one day. In 8 hours, I could make about 6 wreaths. So that's why I wanted to show you all this. Like, it's in the prep work, getting it done. All right, so now we're going to tie our pipe cleaners, and we're just going to tie them directly between, secure them and tie them directly between the 2 holes. Okay. Have I missed anything important yet? Anybody got any questions? If you're watching the replay, in case you don't know, today is March 19th, 2025. So if you're watching the replay, this kit may no longer be available. But as of today, it is at this moment. What was your news, Miss Tina? I'm sorry. Okay, so, and then basically what I do, once I got my boards loaded, I'll put them in the tote, and then my project is ready for me to do on my day off. Okay, so I kind of wanted y'all to see that. It took, with me running my mouth, of course, approximately, if I can see how long I've been live, it took approximately 20 minutes, okay? So 20 minutes into prep work. So, you know, if you're working a full-time job and you're trying to do this, trying to make a wreath every night, maybe to like kind of back up so you still have time with your family and stuff, and just do prep work. Okay? So 20 minutes into prep work. All right? Oh, congratulations, Tina. So, when the day comes to make the wreath, we're going to cut the mesh. So, today's the day we're going to make the wreath. Got it? Everybody on the same page with me? So, we're going to cut 16 pieces of mesh, 20 inches. And this is a little wonky on the end, so we're going to cut that little edge off. And that'll be approximately the whole roll of mesh. All right, so now we got our mesh cut. That took about 2 minutes. And the wreath that I'm showing you tonight with this kit, like I'm here to tell you, if you're trying to get ready for a craft show too, and you don't quite have enough wreaths, this is perfect. Okay, because we're going to pull our boards out first, and we're going to load our mesh. And we're going to start down at the end. And what we're going to do is a little tuck and roll. Just tuck one time, and then ruffle. That's all you need to do. Tuck it down, and that's going to prevent the fray. Now, this mesh is not too terrible about fraying. It's not necessarily something you have to worry about. All right, once again, you just kind of tuck it down one time. That's all you need to do, tuck it down one time. And that's just to help prevent fray. Okay? Like I said, we put the ends in first, and that is going to make the ribbon lay better. That's why I'm putting the ends in first. It just helps with how your ribbon lays, okay? Now we're going to go down each side and lay in the mesh. We're going to do a tuck. And ruffle right along. I love this mesh, y'all. It's like this, the fine weave mesh is quickly becoming one of my favorites because it's so versatile. It's great for, and I'm telling y'all, like, look, it really doesn't fray as much as the fine weave is like awesome. There's a lot of meshes that you couldn't even pluck on them, and it's not too stiff and it's not too soft. Some of y'all that have been making wreaths know what I mean by that. There's some meshes that when you go to ruffle them, they really are too stiff, and they're not for, they're excellent. It's an excellent mesh for making flowers because it is stiff and folds over really good. But this mesh is great for both because it holds a nice fold for making flowers and it doesn't fray so much. So I'm really happy with this mesh. She doesn't sleep in the Easter basket, Deb, but if you put her in there, she stays. Oh, Tiffany says, oh, yes, she does sleep in the Easter basket. My bad. She loves it. She thinks it's so comfortable. Okay, when you're putting your next row of mesh on, y'all, you kind of want to make sure that your ruffles overlap. Okay, and that is for coverage. You don't want to fluff them up. You want to make sure they're laying on top of each other. This is the new fine weave mesh. It's what's available with the pre-cut mesh. Like I said, this mesh is phenomenal for wood burning. It doesn't fray that much. Yes, we have a new puppy. I forgot, some of y'all haven't seen her yet. Well, she's not a puppy, but she's small enough to be one and always will be that small. Her name is Lily. And we found out officially today she weighs all of 3 pounds. Full grown. Tiffany will bring her over here in just a little bit to introduce y'all to her. Y'all, I'm sorry about we're having like very high winds and storms around here and the dogs are hearing stuff outside. So I apologize about that. Okay, so this is what your base is going to look like. Isn't that pretty? It has a very nice shape to it. All right, so here we go. We're just going to go ahead because we got our mesh out. We're going to move on to the next base. Same thing all over again. The good thing is that our new little dog, Lily, She doesn't join in on all the barking. And if she does, it doesn't matter. We've heard her. She has the smallest little voice, so it's like, oh, okay. Here she is. This is Miss Lily. Say hello to everybody. Like this. Yeah, this is Miss Lily. Say hello to everybody. She's tiny, y'all. Bye, Miss Lily.
This is what she. That's on my shoulder.
She thinks she's Tiffany's parrot. She rides on Tiffany's shoulder everywhere. And she'll just sit there. And she's good with it. The mesh is 20 inches. Cut 20 inches. 16 total pieces at 20 inches. 8 for each board. She's a silky Yorkie. So her fur gets really long. She's a teacup silky. And if your pocket's big enough, she'll stay in that too. It's funny because none of our dogs are really, really big. Buster's medium. He's medium size. But it's funny watching her with Buster chase him around and try to play with him. Buster's like the role model of the sweetest dog ever. He loves cats. Like, he's a lover. That's what I call him. He's my lover. Now my Chica, she's kind of people picky. I'll have to bring her to meet you, Deb. Deb, I don't think Molly would do too much as long as Mike doesn't touch the little dog. Then Molly might get pretty, well, she'd get very jealous. Well, sometimes, Deborah, for the longest time, we didn't have any pets. And the reason we didn't have any pets because of all the hours that I worked. And it wasn't fair to have an animal that I wasn't gonna, like, nobody was going to be home to give it attention. But once I quit working outside the house and started doing my business full time, it was possible. But it's funny because Buster and the little dog, they play, they chase each other around the house. So that's been really, really nice because Chica's not a play girl. She's not like that. And Buster likes to play. So that's been very nice for Buster to have somebody to play with. He's figuring out how to play with her, I guess, because she's so small. Well, Molly might. She might think that's her new chew toy. All right, so there's our 2 wreath bases. All right. And kind of like as I talk to y'all, pretend like you're talking to your friend on Saturday and you're trying to, you know, get wreaths done as well. All right, so we're going to set that aside. So now we're going to do our ribbon. So we're going to pull our ribbon bundles out of our box. And I'm going to set the one bundle on the other wreath, and we'll just start with this one. All right, and we're going to pair these up together. And like I said, I chose to do stripes. You can alternate them. You can do stripes. And then you can do one like this with the dot up. Okay? But I just want to do the stripes. That's kind of like my thing. Make sense? So that's how we're going to pair these up. And you just line your ribbon up. Remember, we just cut it 12 inches this time because that's all we're going to need. And that's how I use my finger to put my pinch on my ribbon. And then we're going to tie it in. Twist tie. And then fluff it out. And because this ribbon is so phenomenal, it's just going to lay really, really nice, y'all. You're not going to have a problem getting it to lay nicely. All right. And we're just going to continue on. Yeah, she's a Yorkie. She's a silky Yorkie, and teacup silky Yorkie. I kind of have my, you know, some people put their, like a top knot on there. I kind of have my mixed feelings about that. Because I personally, you put my hair in a ponytail and if it's too tight, I get a headache. So we're just going to keep her well groomed so her fur doesn't get in her eyes. So, and plus, like, her fur, it's long, like, it gets tangled easy because it's so fine. She's very prone to knots and tangles. I just love this double-sided ribbon, y'all. Well, apparently I miscounted somewhere. That's okay. It happens. It is. It is a beautiful, beautiful royal blue, y'all. I got to cut one more piece of the... That's okay. Now, for me, Patriotic wreaths have always been one of my top sellers. So when I make them to hit several different price points. So this would be like my basic example of my basic price point wreath. All right, so we're in putting on the ribbon mode. And like I said, to me, once you get in a rhythm of doing something, if you just continue doing it, instead of like darting all over the place, it's easier. It's kind of like making sure you don't lose momentum. And I just kind of want to show y'all how quick and easy it actually is to make double wreaths. So I know last time I showed y'all how to do a double kit, I had the one basically finished and then showed you how to make the second. But this time I wanted to show you really like how easy it is for you to do it start to finish. Some people get discouraged because of the, doing this because of the time. So I'm trying to show y'all too, like it's not as time consuming as you may think. And you can break the time down as well. Like I said, it took 20 minutes to do the prep work. So if you work a full-time job and you're wanting to make a wreath and you think you have to finish the whole thing in one night, you don't. You just kind of start with the prep work. And then, technically right now I'm making 2 wreaths, not just one. Man, this ribbon is just phenomenal. I'm telling y'all right now, if I was still a ribbon hoarder, this would be the ribbon I would order a ton of. In all the colors that I possibly could. It's a good support ribbon too. If you have a ribbon that's not so great, it will support that ribbon when you're making a bow. I've bought ribbon before that wasn't so great, but man, I love the way it looked. And you need a good sturdy ribbon to help hold it up. This two-sided ribbon will definitely do that. Lay up there. Your little, don't be flat. We don't want flat ribbon. Are y'all enjoying this? We enjoying this? Have I left anything out that anybody needs answered? Let me know. No questions? Okay. That means I'm doing a good job at teaching, right? Ideally, I hope. Yeah. Okay, so before we put the corsage ribbon on. Oh, there's my piece of ribbon I didn't miscount. I left it in the box. Well, that makes me feel better about my counting abilities. Okay. Next, we're going to put our signs on. And the reason that we're putting signs on is I kind of want the corsage ribbon to look whimsical, and I don't want to fight with it later on to put my signs on. So it's okay. We're going to put it on first. All right. So we're going to cut the hanger off of the wooden one. We don't need it. All right. Now on this metal one, we are going to use the teeth hanger. And that's where we're going to put our first pipe cleaner. And we're going to twisty that up. The other pipe cleaner, we're going to get out a cable tie mount. And the first thing I'm going to do is, and let me bring this up so you can see the cross hatching for the ice cream cone. We're going to find the biggest spot, if I can pick up the cable tie mount, and we're going to put it in that spot where the cross hatching is, because that's the biggest spot to put the cable tie mount, so it'll sit flush. So it'll sit on the metal sign. Everybody understand what I meant by that? I hope. These will fit between two doors. All right, so your cable, with Lori sends you the sticky pads to go with the cable tie mount, so that's why I was just putting on. Stick that in there. Now, I'm just going to tell you, this is what I recommend when you're using these cable tie mounts. I didn't do it. Shame on me. I should do the correct process. But when you get your metal sign, it's going to have oil on it. You can't help it. The sign has been handled by, from the factory to warehouse for packaging. It's going to have some oil on it. So when you're using these, you really need to get an alcohol wipe and wipe your sign off before sticking your cable tie mount on. Okay? And maybe rough it up a little bit. But you definitely need to make sure to wipe it off and get the oil off, because if you don't get that oil off, y'all, like, nope, that's not going to work. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is, because we are going to use our pipe cleaners again, I am going to pull the out of the way. And basically, we're going to put our ice cream cone smack dab in the center. Smack dab from center top, bottom, side to side. We're going smack dab. And I'll show you the automotive tape. That's my suggestion. I'm just, trying to show you how to just use the stuff in the kit to make a beautiful wreath. But yes, I still use the automotive tape. Honestly, come the end of the day, I'm still old-fashioned. And I will tell y'all, my go-to with metal signs is a metal hole punch. I still prefer that more than anything, and I'm just going to tell y'all why, since you're asking, and for those that are new, this is not a revolving cost. I bought this metal hole punch one time. So when I factor in the cost of selling wreaths, I'm not having to factor in cable top mounts, whatnot, every, single time kind of thing. And I've never, ever in the 17 plus years I've been doing this, had anybody complain they could see the pipe cleaner. Because, especially on a metal sign, they all have kind of like a point where they turn down or whatever. And I just put a little dot right there, and it's discreet. Nobody's ever complained, oh, I can see the pipe cleaner, and whatnot. So if I was going to use my metal hole punch, I would use a blue pipe cleaner here, and a red one up here at the cherry. And typically people don't notice. They've never complained. Never. I've never, in all the years that I've done business, I've never had anybody complain. All right. Now, to make sure your mesh keeps the coverage, you don't ever want to fight down through there and separate your mesh to put your pipe cleaners in. You want to go directly through the mesh. Okay? I have this little handy tool. You can use a crochet hook. There's all kinds of different things that you can use. But I use this, and it's a darning needle. And I'm going to show y'all what I do. When I poke the mesh down through, when I poke my pipe cleaner down through with the darning needle, I know y'all can't see me do this, so I'm going to show you this time. When I don't just leave it. To make sure it comes through, I hook my pipe cleaner and then pull it through. So I put a hook on my pipe cleaner, and y'all see that, and pull it through. Okay? That's why I like the darning needle or yarn needle better than I like a crochet hook. You can do it with a crochet hook, but I get that hook on, and I don't ever lose my pipe cleaner trying to pull it through. And I will show y'all which holes I used in a second. Like I said, you want to go straight up through your mesh. Because if you separate it with your pipe cleaner, you're going to lose some of your coverage. Okay? Now, I'm not tying this all the way down just yet until I get my top piece in. I'm just twisting my pipe cleaner a couple times so it doesn't come out while I go to the top. And like I said, here in just a second, I'll tell you which holes I'm using. Don't worry. I'm a metal hole punch girl. I always will be. I think the perspective on the products that you use, you know, it's fine. I'm all for teaching everybody with what they're comfortable with using. I think that's what makes a good teacher, is to not limit how you teach. Right? So I try not to limit myself and get set in stone that it has to be this way. I think I'm the one that has to grow and expand and learn new things, right? I think in order to be a good teacher, you got to be a good student too, and the willingness to keep learning. Right? All right. So, like I said, when I initially, and I'm going to tuck that in just a little bit, when I didn't secure it down the other all the way just to make sure it was centered, okay? But I'm using the row just below and just above. And this is to secure the ice cream cone. I'm not sure if I don't think that the Popsicle will do the same. We'll see. Okay, and then so I'm just going to twist this down a couple more times. And then what I do to keep the back all nice and clean is I take my pipe cleaner and I tuck it right back into the hole. I don't ever cut my pipe cleaner because then that's something sharp on the back, so I don't do that. Okay? All right, so now we got that sign on. So now we'll move on to the other one. Oh, these are looking so much better than... Like, I love when something turns out so much better than I imagined. All right, so now we're going to do the Popsicle. It's basically the same way, but I'm just going to tell you all this time, for your sake, I'm going to use my staple gun, and I'm just going to use 1/4-inch staples. Okay, and I got this El Cheapo staple gun at Walmart. I've had it for umpteen years. Very seldom do I run out of staples. It's kind of, to me, the equivalent of my hole punch. And I've never had a pipe cleaner come out. Ever. Okay. So now what we're going to do this one a little bit different for a reason. This sign is a little bit heavier than the metal one. We want to make sure that this one doesn't slide down. So we're going to do what's called leverage. Okay? It's kind of like we're going to take our pipe cleaners, and with our metal sign, we basically went straight down. With this sign, to make sure it doesn't slide top to bottom, we're basically going to come in maybe a couple holes with our pipe cleaners so that it's leveraged in one spot. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? If I need to explain that again, I will. That may not have been the best explanation. Maybe once I start putting it on, it'll be better. Okay, so for this one, we're going to start at the bottom of the sign, and the good thing is there is no top or bottom at the moment with this style wreath. Okay, so for this one, we're going to go, like I said, we may, like if I used these holes before, at the bottom, I'm going to aim for these holes. And that's to help hold the sign up. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and once again get my pipe cleaners, because we still have to put our corsage ribbon in. So I want to be able to get to my pipe cleaners. So I'm going to pull them out. And once again, when I tie my pipe cleaner, it's going to be loose because I'm not ready to secure it just yet at the bottom. and I'll show y'all what I mean by loose. Okay, I mean loose, because I still have to move and adjust it. Okay, so what I'm going to do very loosely, basically how it's sitting, I'm just going to give it a little couple twists, and that's to keep it from these from sliding out while I'm working on the top. Okay. So now to put the leverage to make sure the sign doesn't slide down, I'm going to use the same holes at the top that I used for the ice cream cone. I'll flip it over here in a second, and that's to make sure the sign stays up. And this, my friends, is the trick to putting heavy signs on. I constantly, what's the trick? So they don't, this is the trick so they don't sink, y'all. Because I like my signs looking like they're floating on the wreath and not smashing the ribbon. So this is the trick I use. All right, so we're going to make sure, so I can push now. So we're going to make sure that this is centered. Okay? So my top pipe cleaner, I'm going to secure down. And I'm not pulling it all the way down, y'all. It's hovering. It's not pushing down on my ribbon, and it's not pushing down so hard on my mesh. I'm pulling down until I get resistance. Like I lost a piece of ribbon. Let me show you. I'll tilt this up so you can see that it's not pushing down on my ribbon, y'all. It's not flattening it out. See, I still have a nice shape. I have room. Okay, so I'm not pulling it down to smash. So this is my trick so you don't have a smashed ribbon look. Okay, so now that we got the top, okay, we need to loosen this up just a little bit so I can pull it down just a smidge. So I'm loosening my pipe cleaner in the back right now. And we're going to pull this down just a smidge, y'all. Okay, now that I pulled it down just a smidge, I'll pull my pipe cleaner. And I don't want to pull my pipe cleaner too hard because then I'll pull it back up. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to pull just till I get resistance, and now I'm going to tighten my pipe cleaner down. So just to show you, and the bottom, I use this set of holes. On the top, I use this set of holes to mount my wooden popsicle sign. So does everybody understand how the leverage works with the heavier sign to keep it from sinking in? Everybody good before I move on? Anybody got any questions? Okay, so let me explain something to y'all. So this is an instance, I've had people ask me in the past, Jackie, why do you cut your ribbon 14 inches, whatever? So you see how nice the ribbon and how perky it is at 12 inches? So if you're not going to add any florals or anything, 12 inches with the ribbon, that's all you really need, y'all. Okay? As you can see, it's plenty. But now we're going to add the little bit of fun to it, and that's what we're going to do with the corsage ribbon. Okay? We're going to take a piece of each color, and we're not going to lay these firmly flat. I kind of learned my lesson last time. We're going to kind of put them side by side a little bit. I don't want them to be flat, and they might go flat. Whatever. Actually, let's try this. We're going to take one individual piece, and we're going to roll it over, and then make our bow. And then we're going to take another piece, roll it together, make a bow, and we're going to hope, yep, that'll do better. And I'll do this slower, y'all, because I'm still kind of playing with this stuff too to get a good effect. So I will do that slower, but see how we're basically making a bow. And then we're just going to tie this super tight into our pipe cleaner. And there was something I wanted to try for some of y'all that don't have good hand strength, so I'll try that right now for y'all when I do the next one. How about that? So just pull it apart, and that makes the fun, right? So I wanted to try this really quick because the idea came to me. You can get some super short zip ties at Dollar Tree, and that's where I got these, and I have tons of them. They will give you tons of these for $1. Dirt cheap. I wanted to see, for those that don't have good hand strength with the pipe cleaners, I wanted to see if we could zip tie this together before putting it in, because I know that's something that some of y'all struggle with. So we're going to do all 3 pieces at once this time. And I'm lapping them over, y'all, about a ½ inch. Make your loop, pull it together, and then I double check and make sure that that's center. But what I wanted to do is see if we could zip tie this to really secure them before putting them in the pipe cleaner. And you can. So that might be a good idea for some of y'all that don't have good hand strength, but you're able to do zip tie wonders. Everybody with me on that? And just pull it apart and then put it in your pipe cleaner. And that's what's going to add the fun, whimsical to it. And just that little bit is going to add a lot to the wreath. So I'll just tell you, using the zip tie, I'm even going to be a fan of doing it. So I'll show you one more time. Just grab your 3, and it doesn't matter, y'all. Just put them any way that you want to, because we want them to be whimsical, so you don't have to stack them the same way. Just grab one of each. Okay? Then overlap your stack about a ½ inch. Like so. Like I said, I know some of you, so that's why I want to try it. I got that idea. I was like, well, why can't we? 'Cause I have a ton of these itty bitty zip ties, y'all. So you could just tighten that down with your zip tie. Maybe add that into your prep work when you cut that. Y'all know what I mean? Tie it in, and then you just want to pull these apart. And that's going to add your whimsical touch. I try to make sure that I'm pulling different colors at different times to really add the whimsical nature. Okay? All right, but I do have fairly good hand strength, so now I'm going to rock and roll along. Now this loop method that I'm doing right here, same thing. You can do these separately like I'm doing, and then zip tie it. I think either way will be just as cute. So I just wanted to show you, you could zip tie it that way too. And then the loops are basically already apart. You're not having to pull them apart. And just tie them in. I just dropped a red piece, so now I'm counting on there to be that extra. I don't have to bend over and pick that up right now. You know, one thing I'm curious about, if anybody gets this kit and you got a wood burner, because y'all know I don't wood burn, but I am curious about something, but obviously not curious enough to get my wood burner out. I'm wondering if you can wood burn these pieces together as you cut them, as you cut your 3 pieces together. So if you have a wood burning tool and you like doing that, let me know. Somebody try that for us. Okay? Because I'm just kind of curious. Because I thought, well, that would be a good idea, is if you're cutting them, you can wood burn them at the same time, and they would stay together, the 3 pieces. I guess I could get my wood burner out and heat it up, and we could try. Y'all want me to get my wood burner out and try? I can get it out and start it heating up. We're going to have to get the automotive tape for that one. That's okay. Because I was just kind of curious about that. let me get this on this one, and then I will dig my wood burner out and start it heating up. How about that? Because y'all know how you wood burn mesh together to make layers. And it sticks together. I was kind of thinking this because it's same material. I'm kind of thinking it'll do the same thing, right? That was my whole idea to that thought. Isn't that adding just the right touch, y'all? And it doesn't need anything else after you put the corsage ribbon on. It's fine. It's a great wreath. It doesn't need anything else. See? It's pretty the way it is, y'all. I don't need to add any picks or anything because that corsage ribbon just added that whimsy to it. That's what I think it does to it. So there's like, it's like adding your pick to it for a fraction of the cost. All right, what did I do with my wood burning tool? Because shame on Jackie, she don't use it that often. It's in one of these drawers, y'all, I promise. Tiffany. She walked off and left that dog sitting on the kitchen table, y'all. She's hollering for the dog. The dog's like, I'm stuck up here. All right, so here's my wood burner. We'll set that off to the side and continue on while that heats up. Right? Bad Tiffany. All right. So our one wreath is done. And y'all are going to give me a few minutes off because we tried some things in the time that it's actually taking to make these two wreaths. Don't forget that when I go look at the time. There's grace time in there because I was showing y'all examples of different things to do. Like, I think you could even take these and cut these in, a figure 8. That might work too. Put them in like a figure. You can play with these and get all kinds of different appearances out of them, y'all. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Another way that I like to do my flex tube, let's see how this works, is I like to Mod Podge it like that too. Sometimes. Leave the open end open. And that creates a totally different look as well. When you go to put it in. How many of you are going to get this kit? How many of you all have already gotten the kit? Ordered yours today. Lane, you're getting yours. Well, don't forget to use my affiliate when you're checking out, y'all. Do y'all like how easy this kit is? I don't think so, Sandra. I don't think you can just get the signs. I don't recall seeing them individually for sale on the website. But I will tell you that Lori does have other Patriotic items that you can use to put on this if you want to, like different picks and stuff. If you wanted to add more to it. I think you can at checkout. Ask Tina Kelly. There she is. Ask Tina Kelly about that. I'm not totally sure how that works in the app. I think there's a coupon code that you put in at checkout now. Don't quote me on that. All right, there's the 2 wreaths, y'all. And before I go on, don't forget we're taking a little time off because I showed y'all extra things. From start to finish for 2 wreaths, hour and 15 minutes maybe. So 45 minutes a piece. That's pretty fast. And they're done. All right, but I am going to show y'all this. We're going to try this real quick. Out of curiosity, so I'm just going to grab out 3 pieces that I already have. I got to get my glass board, y'all. Yeah, I have all the stuff for wood burning, y'all. It's right here. I have the fancy glass board. But let's try and see if this works. Why not, right? So I'll just take a couple of pieces that I've already cut, and we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll stay together, maybe it won't. As you can see, it cut through like butter. No problem. And yes, it stays together. So for those of you that may want to do it like this, I'd say it's just as fast as using scissors. Honestly, I wouldn't normally, and it stays together. So you can cut all your pieces. And then they stay together. Answered that question really fast, didn't it? Oh, they're pretty together, y'all. Did you see me pop on that? And they didn't come apart? They're pretty together. I'm popping on them. So it's pretty good together. That answers that question for y'all. I'm happy to answer that. Any questions for me? Let me put my glass back in its bubble wrap. And let me unplug my... I don't want to burn myself. All right, y'all. So basically, actually, that was 20 minutes of prep work. So if you do 20 minutes of prep work, okay, it'll take you about 30 minutes per wreath to make them. All right. And you can get all your wreath making supplies at uniqueinthecreek.com. All right, y'all, if you don't have any questions for me, I'm out of here. But guess what? Y'all get me Saturday. Saturday. I can't remember what kit we're making. I've got another kit. I wish Lori was here to tell me so I could show y'all which kit I'm making Saturday. That's a good question, y'all. I can't remember which kit I'm making Saturday. But I'll be back and we'll be doing another kit. It's probably going to be another double kit. I got a couple of double kits here, kind of thing, right? So we'll see. But I will see y'all again this Saturday. Y'all have a great rest of the week. I will see y'all Saturday. Bye, y'all.